design this conversation? That is the question. So now if you agree that yes, I gotta go into this with having that, I want to have that strategic conversation, but how do I do it? So the way you do it is you need to have an opening, a middle, a closing, and a follow-up. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in the slide that I showed with being an effective executive, we're essentially going to map that to this conversation. So you remember that an effective executive asks two questions, what needs to be done and what's right for the enterprise? That's going to be your opening, okay? Your middle is going to be that action. It's loosely, but I'm just giving you an idea, because you have to, again, if that's what's making an effective executive, then you have to interview like an effective executive too. And the closing is where you're going to get the buy-in and hopefully get the offer. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. So let's get to the opening. What do you want to do in the opening? Okay, so if somebody is willing to interview you, saying, okay, you got sponsored and now you're interviewing, let's say it's a phone interview. The first question, because you need to get that knowledge, the first question that is absolutely critical is, you want to know in one sentence, what is this job about? What is the main thing the company's trying to do? What makes this job so strategic? That's the knowledge that you must have, and that's the point you must keep repeating over and over again. So I was coaching one military veteran, and he was going for an interview at Amazon, and his name was Jelani. And I said, Jelani, they're going to ask you a lot of questions. I cannot prepare you for the question they ask you, because they don't tell me that. But I can tell you how you can respond to any question they ask. You can talk about something from your military background, how it relates to what Amazon's doing. But at the end all the answers with, but it's all about customers. Because that's what Amazon cares about. It's all about customers. And he said his interview was supposed to last for 45 minutes. He said, and it went on for an hour and a half. And I said, because the other parts are kind of hard, but the one thing that Amazon really cares about is customers. And we see it all the time. I have never had any problem with Amazon regarding their customer service. So that one question is very important. In one sentence, it has to be one sentence, because if you look at job descriptions, I get confused. I feel like nobody can ever qualify for any of these jobs. So right away, in one sentence, what is this job all about? Then you got to take that job description off the table, and the second thing you want to take off the table is your resume. So you find out what are the three things they like about your resume. What are the three things that if they read it, because this will tell you whether they even read your resume. What are the three things that stand out? And the important one is, what is the one concern that you have about my background? That's the elephant in the room, by the way. This is the elephant in the room. If they're honest that you're not getting a job, it's this. And this is something you have to take care of during the interview. And once you have that, then you got to get into that Joan Rivers mode. Can we just talk now, So this is the opening. It's pretty simple. This is not that difficult. Because if you don't do this, then you're not seizing control of the interview. At this point, if you suddenly get into that interrogation mode, it's going to be very hard for you to get back into that conversation zone. And if you're not in the conversation zone, then you're not acting like an executive.